I just dropped a Roblox game, and it actually got over 10k players in the first week, but how hard is it to actually release a game on Roblox? For those of you that don't know, the game is called Battle Ball. It's a game that I've been working on for the past few months with my friend, and it was supposed to only take a weekend, but it ended up taking us over 3 months. It's really just a mix of Rocket League and Blade Ball, and the goal is to basically fight and beat up your friends while also scoring goals. There's plenty of abilities and different weapons to collect, and honestly, we had such great feedback leading into this release. We had over 118 members on our Discord, as well as we actually had around 100 people in the group, but right now it's sitting closer to 233 because, it's been released for about a week. So we didn't have an enormous amount of traction going into release, but there was some there. Like, we were able to run tests and have over 40 players and get feedback and work out bugs and honestly really improve the game. So that led us to be able to have over 145 concurrent players on release on the first day. Now, that doesn't matter, because within a few hours we were back down to 27 after everyone had stopped playing for the day, and we were just not able to hold up that CCU. So that's why we decided to start doing ads. Now, ads are expensive. We spent over 50,000 Robux just on ads, and we're going to be spending another 100,000 Robux on ads over the next week. So bear with me here because I'm going to nerd out a little bit. So after running ads for a few days, we were able to kind of test different ad sets. So originally what we were doing was we were paying for the maximum bid, which was 6 cents, but we realized that was just not getting us as many players as we could. So what we actually ended up doing was shifting our bid to be 1 cent. So by shifting it to 1 cent, that means that for every 0.1 ad credit, we are getting 1 player. Now, this means that it also is not spending all of our ads in 1 day, because before what was happening is it would spend all the ads within 1 day, spike CCU, so then we would get up to let's say 100 or 300 CCU for a few hours, and then it would just die down. By picking the lower bid, what it does is it actually helps to maintain a consistent CCU throughout the whole day. So since release, we've actually had 2,215 different unique players, and as you can see, those curves are actually going upwards, which means that the amount of players that we're having are coming back, and that's growing. While at the same time, we actually have gotten most of our CCU and most of our players directly from sponsored ads, while at the same time, we've gotten very little players from the algorithm, which it says that we've only gotten 11. Now, I don't know how true this is, but from what I've heard, this is caused by the algorithm not pushing games before 2 weeks after their release. So apparently, unless you have a massive CCU right on release, the algorithm will not show your game on people's homepage, especially not on any of the trending things. Well, you may be asking yourself, well then how do I get the algorithm to push my game? Well, fortunately, they do actually give you a really good pinpoint to see how your game is performing compared to other games. As you can see here, our game is not doing great. So the average session time is 3.4 minutes, that's yesterday, and then the 7-day retention, day 1 retention, and so on and so on. So these are all important metrics that you're trying to boost up. While if you look at our average playtime, so unlike what the other menu says, we actually have a good retention and playtime of returning users. So returning users actually play on average for over 10 minutes, while on the other hand, new users only play for about 3 minutes. So this is mostly because when you're running ads, if the player doesn't like the game in the first 10 seconds of playing, they'll just leave. So it's really hard to kind of keep that those metrics up with when you're running ads, because you're getting a lot of people that may not even want to play your game or may not like your game. They're just clicking it because it's an ad. So obviously there's going to be a mix of people that actually want to play the game and then a mix of people that just don't give a crap. So now you may be asking yourself, well, you've spent over 150,000 Robux. How many players are playing your game? And how much Robux have you actually made back? Well, we only made about 4,322 Robux over the last week. So we haven't spent the full 150,000 Robux yet, but we spent about 50,000. So that means that we've only made about 4,000 off of 50,000 in ads, which, as many people know, that is very negative. That is not very good. That being said, we're kind of starting to see or climb our CCU. So we actually started it with more often than not having 0 active players, while now we're actually seeing a lot more between 5 to 25 players at all times, which is good. This means that it's climbing. But this is because we made a lot of changes right off release. I did not sleep much the first 72 hours of release because there was actually a lot of bugs that needed to be fixed, a lot of smaller ones, but there's also some really big ones like the leaderboards that were just destroying the game and making it super laggy, because basically we have 5 different leaderboards, and the way that I had it set up was that it was saving each leaderboard individually. So when you had a bunch of players joining, it was just causing a lot of throttle and a lot of issues for the game itself. So once that was fixed, I then started adding new features. I actually added over 8 different systems to the game within 72 hours. So the first system that I added was actually the training zone. So a lot of games, like Rivals, actually have a zone where you can try out all the weapons in the game to see which ones you like. So this was for us to be able to not only sell more, but also for players to kind of get an idea of all the different weapons, all their different abilities, and really get to try things out. This is something super minor, but it was just something that a lot of people were asking for, so we decided to add it right away. Now, I also added playtime rewards, although I was really on the fence about this because I just don't like it. We added rewards for however long that you play, and this transfers between games. So basically, it even counts the teleporting time. So basically, as long as you play the game, you'll gain more rewards, and then the final reward is actually a mythic. So that's really cool, and I think that this will help increase the playtime, because the idea here was we were trying to increase the playtime for the new players. And on that same note, we also added a tutorial that weekend because we didn't even have a tutorial, because in my mind, it was pretty straightforward. You hit the ball and you score goals and you beat up people. It's not that hard, but people just did not know what to do when they joined the game. So after adding the short tutorial, we saw actually a pretty big spike in the retention for new players, and then we also gave enough gems so that the new players can actually do a few chest rolls as soon as they join. Because of the low CCU, we kept running into the issue where players would join and then they would have just no one to play against, because that's actually one of the issues that I had with this game, in that I think that is good knowledge for anyone. If you're going to release a multiplayer game that you need to play with other players to have fun, you need to have a CCU on release. Because for us, for example, we would have a player join, he has no one to play against, so he just leaves. So to solve that issue, what we added was that you can play against bots in like a type of training mode. It's pretty fun and it's a good way to kind of just pass the time, although let's be realistic, no one's going to be playing against these bots for 15 to 20 minutes. So that's why it's so important for us specifically to try and increase the amount of CCU that we have. So with all of these changes, where does this put us? Well, we actually saw an increase in satisfaction and people started to really enjoy the game. We were able to patch a bunch of bugs, and this actually is what it was able to help us to maintain somewhat of a small CCU between 5 to 20 players. We even actually released a week 1 update patching even more bugs, adding more content, so new weapons, a new banner, and even a new map for players to play. And we're going to continue on this pace of continuously updating it every single week until we're able to really make this game pop off. So for anyone that's planning on releasing a game on Roblox, you better open your wallet because it's freaking expensive. You really got to spend a crap ton on ads to be able to get it to be pushed to the front page, and then you need to monitor your statistics and make changes to the game so that it actually makes people enjoy the game longer and really start to push into the algorithm. So if you're curious, I highly recommend that you go check out the game. It's going to be in the description down below. You can then give us a follow as well as subscribe and like for more. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.